Today, we'll start with few questions of paper 1 topic, communication. And those who have attempted this NetSet examination, I'm very happy if you are going to qualify. But in case you have missed it, then definitely we have to make a new start. And those who are going to appear in the coming days, I wish them good luck. So, as you all know, I guide NetSet students. And on my channel, I have uploaded few videos related to paper 1 as well as commerce paper 2. I am Ms. Kavalpreet Kaurpuri from Mumbai, and I welcome to my YouTube channel. Hope so you all are studying. And in case you are making a fresh start for the next attempt, probably that will be in the coming year. So we can make always a fresh start. So let's start today on the topic communication. As I always start my lecture by always advising that we should know what we are studying. So in this case, I have uploaded my previous videos where I've discussed in-depth syllabus of each and every topic. And so again, whenever you make a fresh start, ensure that you know what you're studying. You can check on my playlist where I've uploaded communication topic videos where I've explained in detail how to study, from which books to study. And now I'll directly come to the questions. So let's understand this. In communication, connotative words have option 1, clear meaning, option 2, common meaning, option 3, cultural meaning, and option 4 is literal meaning. Now, when you understand the syllabus, you will come to know that we have two types of words which are called as connotation and denotation. Okay. So before we try to attempt any question, I always advise all my students that ensure you know the meaning of the words. Okay. So let's read what is connotation. It refers to the personal and cultural meanings in addition to the primary literal meaning of a word. Okay, so if you are aware about this concept connotation, you could have easily answered. Okay, because see, the question itself asks in communication connotative words have, and the third option is cultural meaning. And when you study this connotative word, okay, the definition itself is talking about, it refers to the personal and cultural meaning. So it was so easy, provided you know what is the meaning of this particular concept. I always tell my students that NetSet is not a very difficult examination, but yes, you should change your approach to study, because when we are attempting any question or the examination which is based on multiple choice questions, you don't have to ratify. What you're supposed to do is you should have conceptual clarity. So in this case, if you are aware about this term, then you could have easily scored 2 marks. Okay, now let's read what is denotation. It refers to the primary literal meaning or the dictionary meaning. So when we're talking about the dictionary meaning, that is called as denotation. Connotation can be classified as positive or negative. Now with the help of example, I'm going to explain you. Denotation is not classified because it is direct dictionary meaning. Next, connotation can change according to cultural and personal experiences. It means it differs from culture to culture. It differs from personal experience to personal experience. And denotation remains the same regardless of cultural and personal experience, just because it is the dictionary meaning. Now from this slide also, from just knowing the meaning of the word, you can understand that connotation is something which attaches different meanings to a particular word, whereas denotation is directly, it is denoting something. Okay, so remember, denote is dictionary word. D for denotation and D for dictionary. Now let's see few examples. Now see, the word is heart. Now we all know our heart is an organ. So that is the direct dictionary meaning. So that is denoting. Okay, and what is connotation? You can associate heart with love, with affection. Okay, so a mother's love, maybe your partner's love, you are having affection towards the teaching. So connotation means you are attaching some meaning towards it. Now, if I look at another example, now word snake. Okay, snake is a reptile. We all know. Okay, but we connote it with what? When we call someone as snake. Okay, sometimes people are very dangerous or evil for us. So we say na, ये नाग जैसा है, सांप है, ये हमको डस लेगा, काट लेगा. So that becomes we are attaching a cultural meaning to it. Okay, so we are giving a separate meaning to it. We are associating that this person is negative or this person is harmful for us. So just understand here the word which has a dictionary meaning becomes a denotation, and which we attach some other meanings becomes a connotation. Okay, now again example, blue. Blue is a color as per the dictionary, and blue here they have given example that blue can be, we say na Monday morning blues, we are so excited about after the weekend for work. No, we are not excited, but we are excited during the weekend, and we are always so Monday morning blues and we don't want to go to office or work, so that becomes a little depressing and sad. Okay, so here remember just a keyword when you look at the examples. And I always tell that when you get a question on one particular concept, connotative, you should understand that the second next best concept to connotative was denotation. So whenever we are studying one question in net set preparation, we are understanding 4 different concepts. Okay, so next time the question may be again on connotative, but it may be differently framed or maybe on denotation. So here the correct answer is cultural meaning. Okay, so change your approach to study. You should have conceptual clarity, because once you get that conceptual clarity, it becomes very easy to qualify this examination. Okay, so these are just examples for you to remember. Next, a notice about the auction of a car in a newspaper is an example of. Okay, now this is from types of communication. They're talking about a notice is given. Okay, notice is given where? In a newspaper. And auction of a car. Auction means nilami kar rahe of a car. Okay, now if you remember these concepts, what is downward communication, what is group communication, what is interpersonal and mass communication, you can easily identify. See, newspaper is itself a part of mass media, where we don't know how many people are going to read it. We don't get easy feedback because we don't know how many. Now there is a movie being telecast. Okay, we don't know how many people are actually watching it. And it is very difficult to track other than if you have a system of tracking. And it is also very difficult to get a feedback. So here the correct answer becomes mass communication. Why? Because a notice is given to all, and newspaper is a part of very much of mass communication. So where infinite audience, you got the newspaper or you happen to see that advertisement, so you become the audience for it. Now, what is downward communication? If you have not seen or you don't know this, you can check my previous videos on this communication topic. Okay, so there is something called as vertical communication, and that we have downward and upward communication, when the communication flows from higher level to lower level or from lower level to higher level. That becomes your upward and downward communication. Group communication is where you can count the number of audience. Okay, now suppose in my lecture there are 10 students or there are 50 students. The teacher has the exact count. So that becomes a group communication. Interpersonal communication is when you are talking to another person. Okay, so that becomes your interpersonal. So this was very easy, provided you know that notice, you know the meaning of auction. So if you are suppose from Hindi medium, okay, you should be very strong about that particular concept, language. Okay, so ensure that in whichever language you are appearing for the paper, you should have good knowledge about that language. Okay, now let's see levels of communication or types. Extrapersonal is communication between human being and non-human being. Okay, suppose now you know there is a stranger on the door and you have a dog as your pet. So the dog starts barking because he's seeing for the first time a stranger person. So that is also part of extrapersonal communication. Okay, so the communication between human being and non-human being. So just remember the keyword. Okay, so next time the question can be on extrapersonal. Then intrapersonal, when you're communicating with yourself, you are writing your answer. Okay, you're discussing with yourself. Okay, you're not discussing with someone else. Intrapersonal, you're writing your diary, what happened in the entire day. Okay, so that becomes intrapersonal. Interpersonal is communication between two people. So never get confused between intra and inter. Okay, just as in colleges, we have inter-college or intra-colleges within the same college but different sections. And interpersonal is when we are competing with another college. Mass communication is with the masses, and organizational communication is done by the people of the organization. Okay, so next time the question can be on downward, vertical, and so on. So whenever you study any one particular question, you make sure that you study the 4 other options. That is the only best method to study and to qualify. Moving on to the next question. Now this is statement based questions. Okay, either the statements are true or false. So statement 1 talks about communication reflects the dimension of power. Statement 2, power and unethical communication are strongly interrelated. Okay, now in case of statement based question, you should understand what the statement is talking about. Now here they are not asking assertion and reasoning. So there is no question of the both statements getting related to each other. When I look at the option number 2, statement 2, power and unethical communication are stronger this is absolutely false. Okay, at all times in your life, you should behave ethically. Okay, wherever you are, in whichever country you are, in whichever situation you are, you should stay ethical. So power and unethical communication are not strongly interrelated. So statement 2 has to be incorrect. Statement 1, communication reflects the dimension of power. Yes, we can say, see, I can say communication has all the powers. Okay, you can maintain good relationships with each and everyone just because you know how to talk to one another, or maybe you know how to respect. So yes, communication reflects the dimension of power. You can have power over others just because the way you speak, the way you interact. Okay, so yes, statement 1 is 100% true, but statement 2 is incorrect. Okay, so the option number 1, both statement are false. No, both statement 1 are true. This is also incorrect. Statement 1 is false, but statement 2 is true. This is incorrect. So here the correct option is statement 4, option 4. Statement 1 is true, but statement 2 is false. Okay, so understand the keywords power, unethical, interrelated. So this becomes very easy to answer. Moving on to the next question. The means of non-verbal communication. Now see, the question here is on non-verbal, but what you are supposed to do simultaneously when you study non-verbal, you should study verbal communication also. Please watch my previous videos for in-depth explanation about verbal and non-verbal. Now just a brief about it. Verbal involves words, whether they are written or oral. Okay, so whether I'm speaking, that becomes verbal, and when I'm writing, when I'm using words, that becomes also verbal. Non-verbal is any other method of any other type of communication where we are not involving words. Okay, the traffic signal, our emojis of WhatsApp, and so on. So the means of now they're talking about non-verbal. Okay, so it means there will be something odd man out. You have to strike out the verbal form of communication. Spoken languages, verbal. Time languages, non-verbal. Sign languages, non-verbal. Space is non-verbal, and written languages again. So if I eliminate option number A and E, because spoken and written should go under verbal communication, the answer has to be B, C, and D. Okay, so B, C, and D comes in option number 3. So here 3 becomes a correct. Okay, understand what now where we make a mistake. Sometimes in the examination we mark the wrong answer. But as of now, as we are through, exam is conducted through CBT mode, computer-based testing. So once you realize, you can anytime change. Okay, but be sure if you're attempting in a physical form of paper, never make a mistake of marking the wrong answer. Sometimes it happens with all of us. Okay, so just remember, odd man out system, you should understand they're talking about non-verbal. So you have to eliminate the options of verbal. Now let's see non-verbal communication is the transmission of messages or signals through a non-verbal platform such as eye contact. Now you go to your parents, okay, you ask money, suppose the amount is huge, you know, just by the looks, if they show you their eyes or maybe they make some facial expressions, you understand that they are not going to give you money. Okay, or maybe they are questioning you. So facial expressions, eye contact, gestures, your actions, your body language, posture, and the distance between two individuals. So it can be the facial expression, see, body movements, eye contacts. So these are all non-verbal. Here words are not in. Okay, when you're going to an interview, the way you present yourself, the way you enter the room, or your dressing, okay, that also becomes a part of non-verbal communication. So this is something, the 10 commandments of visual communication. You can get a question on visual communication. Okay, what is visual? Which you can see. Okay, so just go through them: colors, typography, shapes, hierarchy, lines, iconography, contrast, order, weight, space. Sometimes a question can become. So this is just an additional information from my side. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. Which of the following constitute the paralanguage? Okay, now paralanguage has been asked various times in many of the attempts. So just remember, again, watch my last videos on this. Select from the options to indicate pitch of the voice, internal noise, external noise, use of pauses, rate, and volume of speech. Okay, so if you know the definition of paralanguage, okay, it is not your voice and all, but the other elements. Okay, so here the answer A, pitch of the voice, has to be the answer. Internal noise, external noise is in fact a barrier. It cannot be considered as paralanguage. Use of pauses, yes, you should know when to pause, when to read. Okay, when we are reading, there's punctuation, importance of punctuation marks also, rate, and volume of speech. Now, suppose I'm teaching in an environment where there's lots of noise. Okay, so the teacher also has to increase her volume, or maybe sometimes we try to focus on few words. Okay, so that becomes some other words and all. So that is paralanguage. Okay, so the correct answer is here. Pitch of the voice, use of pauses, rate and volume of speech. Now, when you have studied, suppose you get a question. Now go to Google or whichever source you are referring. Okay, always buy a good book, an authentic book. Now, suppose even if you are referring Google, then you should know that you are reading from some authentic website. Understand what is paralanguage, what are the components, what is the meaning, because next time the question can be something related to this again. Okay, now moving on to the next. Now, this can be a homework question because I've already explained you which type of communication is most difficult in gearing message to an audience. Now, they're telling which method, interpersonal, mass, intrapersonal, group, is very difficult. You cannot get the feedback, or maybe it is very difficult to analyze whether you have reached to the audience or not. So again, the question answer becomes mass communication, because as I told you, in interpersonal, we can get direct feedback, okay, one-to-one. Intrapersonal, you are talking with yourself. Group communication, you know the number of so they can immediately give you a reply. But in case of mass communication, you don't know to how many people you have reached. Okay, they don't have a provision to give you feedback. And sometimes we don't know whether the person is watching or not. Okay, so very difficult in gearing a message to an audience is through mass communication, because we don't know the number of people, exact number of people. So here the correct answer is mass communication. Next question, the study of communication through touch is, okay, this is very important because it has been repeated various times. Okay, and all these questions are from 2020 and 2021 paper. So when we talk about non-verbal communication, see, we have facial expressions, kinesics, body movement and gesture, proxemics, use of interpersonal space. As I give you an example, when you are very friendly, suppose with your some friends and all, then you don't mind getting very close to them. But suppose you are dealing with someone who is unknown to you, a stranger, or maybe someone who has come to deliver something at your place, then what happens is there is you need to maintain a distance. Oculesics is eye gaze. Okay, yes, we communicate through our eyes. Haptics is touch. So here the correct answer is communication through touch is haptics. Chronomics is time. Okay, you know, but we tell you to arrange in order. So starting from A to Z, or maybe some time we ask you to arrange it chronologically. That is 1950s should come for, then 60s, 70s, and so on. Paralinguistics is vocal cues and so on. Just in the last question we have discussed. So chronomics is time. Semantics is meaning of words, language. Haptics is touch, and proxemics is study of the distance and space. Okay, so you should know. Other than this, you should know now when a question, how can a question be framed on semantics or maybe on chronomics? Okay, so this time the question is haptics, direct meaning. Next time the question may be on a different topic related to this. Okay, so this is all I have taken from the NTA website. If you go to the NTA website from where you download your admit card, there's a download section where you can download all the papers, and sometimes the answer is also marked in that. You just need to put use that tab. So you need to enter UGC NET examination, the year, and your subject paper. Suppose you are from commerce. When you check the commerce paper, then from that only, in that commerce paper only, you will have your paper 1 as well. Okay, so this is, I've taken the content. It is always advisable to give the references and bibliography, because as all know, we are studying research also, where this has become unethical practices has become a very big issue. So always give your references and bibliography. It is just compiled by me and explained by me. And I wish you all the best. So commerce students who have just in the last week, they're done with the exam. But yes, few of the candidates who were not allotted the center are going to appear on 14th of this month. So I wish them all the best. In fact, all of you from whichever stream you are, this paper 1 is going to help you a lot. So if you are not well prepared, you can again start the preparation for the next attempt. And please watch my last videos, and I've updated my playlist. And that's it for this. Hope to meet you soon. All the best.